All right, welcome back to Fantasy Island. We're going to be talking about our fantasy matchups today and our big fantasy matchup for week 4. This is a tough week to pick fantasy matchups like a motherfucker. I'm going to go back old school and I'm going to do an NFC East showdown here and do the Washington Commanders versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, I know Washington got blasted last week, but there were still some positives that came out of it. Brian Robinson still ran the ball well. They gave up the run probably mid third quarter, and they let Sam Howell keep throwing and throwing those picks. But I mean, he had 15 carries, 70 yards, so his average was still good. He was running hard in the second half. McLaurin had a couple nice catches. Curtis Samuel had a couple nice catches. So there were some positives to build on, and I think they can do well against a little depleted Eagles defense that's a little bit banged up. But I think the biggest depletion that the Eagles defense is seeing this year is the lack of being able to stop the run. Sure, they got the highly touted Jalen Carter. He's got some out the field issues, whatever, but he's great on the field. He's going to be a Pro Bowler at some point in his career, definite, no doubt. But you know what, man? The thing that's really hurting those guys is they're missing Javon Hargrave. Javon Hargrave was a stud. He was a 5-time Pro Bowler. He was just a monster in the middle. Nobody could run on him. It isn't the same anymore. And the first few weeks have shown that. They're not getting the same pressure up the middle as well. So I think that's going to hurt the backside of their defense and expose them a little bit. And I expect Sam Howell to bounce back a little bit here. I expect him to have a little bit of some stick in his craw here and get a little back at it, Get a little bit of sand in his craw or, I don't need I need a guy with sand here, Sam. You know what I mean? Because if you don't got sand, I don't need you. So he's got to get some grit going here, and he's got to throw that ball up, and I think he can do that against the Eagles secondary. So I'm really liking me some Sam Howell. I'm liking me some McLaurin, some Curtis Samuel, the Flashman, and most of all, out of all these guys, I'm liking Brian Robinson. And if I only had to play one fantasy guy and really take care of one guy out of that team, I'm really going to play Brian Robinson. I just think the Eagles are going to be tired. They haven't been able to stop the run all year consistently, so I really like what's going on there and, in Washington with running the ball, and I think they're gonna sprinkle a little bit of some Antonio Gibson in there because they gotta get some kind of juice going too. The other guys just aren't cutting it, so they gotta get it somewhere. So I think they might try something a little bit different this week and juice him the ball a little bit, but, definitely worthwhile to play some Brian Robinson. On the other side of the ball, what can we say? Defending NFC champs, the Eagles, undefeated, but not looking the same to me. I don't know. I just don't think that they're the same right now. And, the coach came out this week and saying that it's a work in progress. No team is at its best right now. And I'm thinking, holy shit, after week 3, if Miami's going to get better than they were in week 3, the league's in trouble. But, hey, it is what it is. I mean, to be honest, when T told me, hey, bro, you got to pick your fantasy matchup for this week, I was sitting there looking at the schedule and I was like, fuck, there's no fantasy matchups. Can I do Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift? So that's why I decided to pick this game because the Eagles have their own version. They got DeAndre Swift and they got Kelsey's brother, the center there. So they got Kelsey and Swift there. So that's why I picked this matchup too, guys. Throwing that out there, a little side bit for you. But in reality, DeAndre Swift has found a home. They realized after week 1, this is the guy that's going to be our guy. Rashad Penny, just do whatever you do. Go over there, eat some oatmeal in the corner, do something. But DeAndre Swift's getting the bulk of the carries. He'll sprinkle in some Kenneth Gainwell in there and some, Bart Scott or whoever that guy is, whatever that guy's name is, Bart Scott. That was a linebacker, but you guys know who I'm talking about. But I'm just saying it is definitely the DeAndre Swift show. He had another big week for him last week, over 100 yards, no touchdowns, but they definitely are running the ball well, and I expect them to do that again this week. Although they are playing a different animal in Washington. Washington has a really good defensive line. He's going to put some pressure on Jalen Hurts, and I don't think he's going to let him run as much. They don't need to blitz. They don't need to move and get pressure on this guy to get him out of the pocket, and I think they can smash him. So it's going to be a really good strategic game. I think Jalen Hurts can put up a couple touchdowns, especially to my boy A.J. Brown, who definitely woke back up last week for us, a la Kings calling him out. But hey, A.J., welcome to the party. Devontae Smith's already been here. He's already got a little bit of some action upstairs, and you just got here. So I'm just saying, you got Devontae Smith, you got A.J. Brown, Dallas Goddard's nowhere to be found. I don't think he's going to get an invite this year. You got some DeAndre Swift there that are all must starts. Jalen Hurts, a must start. So definitely fantasy relevance in this game, guys. You got at least 4 or 5 players that are probably top 80% of rosters going to be started. So again, take a look at this matchup. Play who you want. I think it can pop, guys. I think we can get a high scoring game up in the 30s somewhere, both sides. Let's just hope for it and hopefully have a good fantasy matchup. Until next week, RW Kings fantasy matchup